tomorrow is shaping up to be a Skywatcher's dream. Multiple celestial events are going to coincide on the same day. 6 planets will appear aligned in our night sky. This alignment will happen all week into the early morning sky. Also, the Perseid meteor shower is going to reach its peak on Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Stargazers could see around 100 meteors per hour with ideal conditions. Meanwhile, the main event will be the total solar eclipse. And that brings us to our next guest. Joe Rayo is an associate astronomer at the Hayden Planetarium. We've had Joe on before, but not in this capacity. Joe's on a boat. He's on his way to Spain for the total solar eclipse. Joe, good afternoon. Good morning to you. Tell us where you're heading. I think it's a body of water off the coast of Spain.
Well, I'm currently right now on Ponant, which is a French cruise line. Ponant's ship La Boreal. We are in the Mediterranean Sea. We're actually docked right now in Barcelona. But tomorrow afternoon, we're going to move this ship into position, into the path of totality. This ship is going to take us into the shadow of the moon. It's going to take us far out over the Balearic Sea, which is in the western end of the Mediterranean, where we're going to see a total eclipse of the sun. What an exciting event this is going to be. We're all going to know the darkness that descends in the middle of the day and what an eerie feeling it creates. And we're going to see the waning crescent of the sun gradually disappear as the moon fits itself across the solar disk. And when finally the sun is gone, a great crown, a halo, the corona of the sun becomes visible, streaming outward, ragged at the edge, streaks running through it. And when the corona first forms, we might get a flash of light as the last rays of sunlight streak past the rugged, rough edge of the moon, a diamond ring in the sky, a total eclipse of the sun that we are going to visit with the aid of this wonderful ship, La Boreal, carrying us into the shadow of the moon tomorrow afternoon on our journey into darkness.
Can't wait. Do you do audiobooks? I would love to read or listen to some of it. Joe, it is exciting. And I'm wondering, from a location perspective, have you experienced a total solar eclipse over water? And why water instead of land? Was there a reason behind this?
This is going to be my 5th eclipse cruise. I've seen 14 eclipses, wow, total eclipses. This is number 5 on the sea for me. And part of the reason for being on a ship is that we have mobility. If we, for example, have some cloud cover at the last minute that gets in the way of the sun, the captain from here on the bridge of La Boreal will just simply give the command, and based upon views from satellite imagery that we also have access to, we'll move to a spot where the skies are purportedly clear and where we'll have a good view of the show. So that is the good part about being on a ship. You have that mobility to be able to move out of the cloud cover and into clear skies.
I'm wondering, with your other cruise experiences, if those changes in the weather were evident. People talk about the temperature dropping, even a light breeze that picks up. Obviously, wildlife, too, that typically sleep during the day, they can come to life. Are those experiences shared over water as land?
Oh, most definitely. You can feel the temperature drop, and certainly a lot of us here on this ship are hoping the temperatures are going to drop because, as you are well aware, we're entering another heat wave here in Europe. It has been hot, and it has been a bit of oppressively humid over recent days. So we could use a little bit of a cool down thanks to the moon passing in front of the sun and knocking the temperature down a few degrees during the afternoon hours tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Spain also has been enduring one of the worst wildfire seasons in record. It's been extremely dry. So we could use the clouds and the rain, but if there could be an exception for tomorrow, just for a couple of minutes, that would be great. And I think it might actually work in your favor. Joe, the Perseid meteor shower, we mentioned it in the intro. That's also happening. How unique in all the eclipses that you've covered has this sort of, we'll say, alignment, although we know that there's a planetary alignment. Has this occurred for you before, where hours after the solar eclipse, because you're going to watch the sun set during that solar eclipse where you're at, I think that sunset will happen around the same time, but then you stay on the boat, you get the Perseids.
That's right. And in fact, 27 years ago, this very day, August 11th, 1999, Europe experienced their last total solar eclipse. And I do remember that later that night, after we all had a view of the eclipse, we had a chance to see the peak of the Perseid meteor shower.
Wow.
And here it is. It's deja vu again. 27 years later, Europe again. This time it'll be Greenland, Iceland, a small sliver of Portugal, and much of the Iberian Peninsula of Spain seeing a total eclipse. And we here on La Boreal, by the way, the captain has arranged, we're going to darken all the lights on deck later tomorrow night. And folks who want to get a view from here on the cruise ship, we're all going to lie out on the long lounge chairs and take a look and watch for shooting stars. And this will come in the aftermath of what we hope will be a successful view of tomorrow afternoon's total solar eclipse.
What a great opportunity. I mean, it is true, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Perseids this season could be one of the better meteor showers. And in part, it's because we're in the new moon phase. So the moon's light is not going to drown out some of these, we'll call them weaker meteors that shoot across the sky during the Perseids. Is that correct?
You're absolutely correct. This is a double bonus. We have the new moon that's going to cause the eclipse, and since it's a new moon, it will not be in the sky and it will not brighten the nighttime sky, and as a result, it will not obliterate any of the fainter streaks of light that are known with the Perseids. The Perseids also produce a number of bright meteors, and sometimes they even produce what are called, and it seems apropos since we're also in the territory near France, bolides or exploding meteors. These are tiny little particles hitting the atmosphere at about 35 or 40 miles per second. They've been in temperatures of 300 and 400 degrees below zero for hundreds and thousands of years. And now, all of a sudden, within the space of a heartbeat, up go the temperatures to thousands of degrees. And because of that instability, some of those little tiny pieces break up. And when they do, they produce these flashes of light in the sky, which are known as bolides or exploding meteors. And that's what the Perseids are known for.
Crazy. It's the space debris from Comet Swift-Tuttle, and we enter that every year. So having the ability to see it, and with an eclipse, I'd say it's a perfect day, and a lot of trips have been planned around this day. Glad that you're in the ocean, in the sea.
And Stephen, let me just say one thing. In 2 years, you mentioned Comet Swift-Tuttle.
Yeah.
We have already done the calculations. There has been a clump of debris, a clump of dust, which was ejected by that comet in the year 1479. 2 years from now, 2 years from tonight, we're going to be entering that clump of material. And so the Perseids, which normally produce about 40 or 50 shooting stars per hour, may produce a couple of years from now in 2028, numbers on the order of 300, 400, 500, maybe even 1,000 shooting stars per hour. That's going to be a big year for the Perseids in 2028.
I'm putting it down in the calendar right now, and maybe we could call it a meteor storm, which is a thing. It's something to talk about. All right, Joe Rayo, really appreciate the time. Enjoy La Boreal, the honorable captain of the ship, at least our captain. Thank you for joining us this morning, and good luck with the eclipse tomorrow.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Stephen, and everybody here at Fox Weather.
All right. Thanks, Joe.